I am Lia Machado. I am qualified in Brazil and I passed both the OSCE and the TLST on my first attempt. I studied law in Brazil at the Federal University of Ouro Preto, and I sat the Brazilian bar exams shortly after I graduated. I then moved abroad to do a master's in international trade law at Coimbra University in Portugal. And then I moved to the UK to study English and decided to become dual qualified. I worked in-house for a very large property company, and I've been working in private practice for the past 5 years, mainly in real estate, advising landlords and investors in purchases and sales of commercial property. So I did the GDL and the LPC, which is the usual route to qualification. So what an English solicitor would, the way an English solicitor would qualify. And being qualified in Brazil, I just thought what would be a good way for me to become dual qualified without having to do a training contract. And then the QLTS came about, and it was great news. The syllabus is very vast. There is a lot to learn and very little information available on the provider's website. So I figured that I could do with a little bit of help and direction on how to prepare. And I found the QLTS School on the internet, and I thought the way they proposed that the course could work would be good for me, and that's how I decided to use the QLTS School. I thought the appointments on Skype were good, because if you know you have an appointment with your tutor, then you have to prepare. So there is a lot of support, but also a way for you to keep yourself in check. I also thought the feedback was really good, both on the Skype appointments, so on the mocks, but also on the written parts of the exams. Well, I understand QLTS School is working closely with the exam provider, and I thought it was really good the fact that the tutor had meetings with the exam provider and was able to direct me on what aspects were the most important ones during the exams. So it's quite good that not to get too bogged down with detail, but to have that sort of direction at what would be the most important bits of the exams. Well, I work full-time, so there is very little time available to study. But I would say that I try to do maybe twice, 3 times a week, a couple of hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours during the week, and then 1 day on the weekends. And the way I allocated my time was more time to my weak subjects, so the subjects I don't work on. So obviously comparing property, which is my subject, with business or litigation, I did a lot more work on business and litigation than I did for property and probate. Yes, they were very supportive. They sponsored me, so they paid for all of the exams and for QLTS School. They also gave me study leave, approved extra holidays that I needed at the time. They managed my workload slightly down so that I could focus on the exams. Yes, they were great, and it's a very nice place to work at, to know that you are supported in that way. I feel I could have done with a little bit more time. The syllabus is very vast, so if you think about what you have to do for business, property, probate and litigation, there is a lot of detail, and the fact that the exams are oral and you have to think on your feet, you really need to feel that you are well prepared, and it was quite hard to be able to feel like that. So I think I could have done with a little bit more time, despite having passed in my first attempt. But yeah, more time for sure. Well, once I decided to do the QLTS, my firm gave me a lot more responsibility because they were expecting me to pass the exams and qualify as an NQ, and therefore my role is just evolving into this NQ role, which will probably involve a lot more responsibilities, more work, which is different from what I was doing before, hopefully more challenging, and which will make me improve. Now that I'm dual qualified and with all the events that are happening in Brazil right now, hopefully I will become more marketable, and I'm actually looking forward to being able to advise clients in different jurisdictions, and hopefully in their own language, or doing different things, and being able to help international clients, which is sort of the type of clients I already deal with now, but I'm just hoping to get into a different level and be able to make use of my dual qualification. And this is thanks to the QLTS and being able to sit the exams and qualify. Most certainly. So when I did the LPC, I sort of knew what I was up against because I had already visited those subjects. But if you're coming from a civil jurisdiction, for a civil law jurisdiction, for example, like me, the subjects are quite different. So yes, definitely anyone would benefit from a little bit of direction, and also the practical side of what QLTS School can offer to your preparation for the exams. I would recommend them to think practically and also think with the hat of the client. So what would you need from a solicitor if you were going to see him? Because the syllabus is very vast. It's very easy to get bogged down with detail. So if you think practically and always keep on check, how am I going to advise someone on this subject I'm studying now, I think that would be very helpful for how you're going to sit the exams. Also, I think that it's hard to be fully prepared, so you need a lot of time. I prepared for 6 months, but if you can manage the time, because I didn't have to sit the MCT, if you can have even longer than that, if you are working full time, then I think it would be most beneficial. I would say 6 months is what it took me, and I passed at my first attempt. So yes, I would say 6 months maybe. Anyone interested in becoming dual qualified, I think this is a great way for one to further their career and become more marketable, and also to further professionally in this country, because obviously if you are qualified as a solicitor here, a lot of weight will be added to your professional qualifications and how other professionals perceive you. So for me that was important, because I am not English, so I didn't study here. So if you have this extra set of qualifications, I hope people will perceive you in a different way. There is such a competitive market out there right now. So there are things you are expected to have. So your technical ability is a given. A client won't come to you if they don't think you'll be able to advise them. There are some specific skills, obviously, so drafting, writing, being able to write in a clear manner, or be able to explain to your client complex legal issues in a language which is accessible. But I think that there is something which is really important today, which is to listen to your client, to understand what they are trying to achieve, so that they feel that you are working with them to achieve what they want. And I think this is one of the most important skills that a modern lawyer needs to have today, being able to create a rapport with a client, which is what will make them come back to you, will make them remember you and think, oh, I want to speak to you and ask what you think of this subject matter. And well, having the opportunity to work with clients as I have now, I feel that I'm improving on those skills every day, and I think that's what will make the modern lawyer succeed and stand out in a competitive market such as the one we have right now.